Hi, I'm Dee Dee of Dee Dee's Fin Den, and along with my co-host Annette of Mystery Snow Gardens, who is working the magic behind the scenes, and Jenna P 2005, we would like to welcome you to the 21st Aquarium Hall giveaway hosted by Fishfam.link YouTube channel. Now, this series of live streams has been created to provide an opportunity for the community to spotlight their aquarium-based businesses or for others to spotlight an aquarium-based business on their choosing. Now, if you're new to this channel, let me share with you how this Aquarium Hall giveaway works. A business or individual contacts us at hello@fishfam.link. Now, once a sponsorship has been determined, a guest shopper or the sponsor will select items from the sponsor's website during the live stream and place the items in a cart. And sometime during the live stream, a giveaway will be given to someone in the chat. Now, depending on where you live, there may be some restrictions, and you must be 18 to enter. Now, I'm going to turn this over to Jenna P so she can introduce our guest sponsor tonight.
Hi. So today, our sponsor and our guest shopper is Dan from Dan's Fish. We reached out and he responded very quickly that he was willing to help. So we appreciate that a lot. And I know you don't get up on a lot of live streams, so we also appreciate that you took the time to do this. So just if people are unfamiliar with Dan's Fish, you look like you're at your warehouse right now. Would you like to share a little bit about what Dan's Fish is?
Yeah. Before I do that, though, I just want to say the reason I was willing to come on is because you guys have been so supportive. So I kind of, anytime anyone asks me to do stuff like this, I kind of want to say no because I know everything else I could be doing while this is happening. But in this case, I had to say yes. There's people involved with this that have just been so helpful to me. For example, this fabulous green screen behind me, I would not have without a couple people who work hard on this. And so I'm happy to do it. I'm really happy to do it. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who's involved with this that has been so helpful over the years. So thank you very much. As far as the warehouse goes, this is like, I don't know, this is like a boyhood dream of mine, really. I've been keeping fish my whole life, pretty much. I started the summer between 6th and 7th grade. Before I continue, is the audio okay? I don't usually use this mic. Are we doing okay? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
A little bit new setup here. And something that has bothered me for years is when people would come over and see that I had aquariums at my house, they would say something along the lines of, I used to keep fish, but they all died. And I heard that over and over and over through the years, and it just really bothered me. And then growing up, I worked with aquarium fish in different jobs, from mom and pop fish stores on up to very large distributors. And I kind of got a sense of the industry and how it operates. And I kind of started understanding why all the fish die. And so a dream I've had for a long time is to build a company that would change that, because the reasons fish die are changeable. All we have to do is change the supply chain and how the industry operates. And so I didn't think this would ever happen because I did not see a viable business model for this to work. Growing up, I saw many pet stores close. I worked at lots of them. And, I'd go back a couple years later after high school to visit or whatever, and they'd be closed. And so it's a very difficult business model. And I had a great job in another field. And so I thought that fish would just be a hobby. I never thought that kind of boyhood dream of having a business that could make this be a forcing function for the change I wanted to see in the industry would happen. But then my brother and business partner, Jonathan, aka Random Arms, he'd been working as a software engineer for quite a while. And I started exploring, just for fun, kind of as an extension of my hobby, selling a few fish on the side. it started with just trading, and then I'd breed some extra stuff and trade it or sell it a little bit. But eventually, more people wanted my fish than I could breed as a hobbyist. And so I was like, well, this internet thing allows me to have a larger marketplace than just my local town or city, which is one reason why I saw a lot of the mom and pops I worked for struggle. They just didn't have a large enough base. And there's these other things that might make this work. So I started collecting data, doing this out of my basement, just really small scale, and collecting the data to see what are the margins, what would this look like if it was a business? And lo and behold, it looked good. So expanded a little bit, added my garage to my basement, and it looked good. And so we built this warehouse. And what we're doing here is trying to change the industry. We do that a couple ways. The first is how we source our fish. Instead of our fish going through this long, I call it a meat grinder of a supply chain, we buy directly from the breeder or collector. And if we can't buy directly from the breeder or collector, we buy very, very close to them to source our fish. So they're not in transit as long. So we shorten the supply chain. The other thing we do is when fish are sourced, we only work with suppliers that will meet our parameters. So we want the fish packed a certain way. If you normally pack 200 fish in a bag, I'm probably going to ask that you only put 50 in that bag so that they're less stressed, less densely packed, have less ammonia toxicity, which is the sleeping killer of fish as they go through the supply chain. So we source differently. And then here we quarantine all the fish for at least 2 weeks. Sometimes it takes longer until they're recovered from all of that and their immune systems are strong and they're used to life in aquariums, eating prepared foods. For most of them, some species never seem to eat prepared foods, but for most fish, kind of getting them in shape so that when they get to our customers, the customer will have an easy time with them. They'll already be recovered. They'll be have a strong immune system and all that. The other thing we do here is we have a diagnostic lab, and we have someone full-time whose job it is just to examine fish, diagnose disease, and treat disease. So we're making sure that the fish that we send out are healthy before they go out. Then when we transport the fish to the customer, we do it very differently. If you want to see all the dirty details, if you go to YouTube and search Dan's Fish shipping, you'll see a few videos that detail how we do it. But it's a painstaking 2-day process to properly prepare the fish for shipping, get them packaged up correctly, and get them out to the customer. But in doing so, we're at about 99% success. And that's a 12-month running total. So the measurement we track the most religiously is feedback from the customers. How many fish did they lose? Or how many fish did they get that might be alive but don't look healthy? Those kinds of things. And 99%, a little over 99% of the fish we've sent in the last 12 months have arrived alive and presumably looking healthy and hardy and stuff for the customer. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make it so the customer has success long term. As Stephen P. 2003 Aquatics says, we send fish out that have a will to live. That's our goal. But what we're really trying to do is do this as an example for the rest of the industry and show that you can do this in this way and still be profitable and be ethical in how you treat these amazing fish. Everyone gets into the fish business because they like fish. No one gets into it because they want to get rich. Their IQ would have to be very low if that was the driver. There's many other ways that you can make a lot more money a lot more easily than fish. So everyone I know that's ever opened a fish store, been involved, does it because they really love the fish. But they enter an industry that after a while, they kind of just fall in line with how the industry works. Not everyone, but in general, that's the trend. And we want to show that you can do it a different way. So that's why we exist. And there are a few places that do a good job. I was in Cincinnati, Ohio. I was at Finspiration, owned by a gentleman named Chris there. And I was blown away by the quality of his fish when I was touring. So I went up to him and I was like, "You've got a quarantine system, right?" He's like, "Right." I was like, "I can tell, because there's no way the fish in these tanks would be this healthy if they hadn't gone through quarantine." And he took me back and he showed me his system and explained his processes and stuff. And I was like, yes, this is exactly what we want. I toured the co-op recently. They're famous for doing quarantine and holding all the fish and making sure they're healthy before they sell them. And so there's a few folks that are kind of like telling the industry and the customer base we can do better and showing how it's done. And it's really satisfying to get up every day and be part of that. It really sucks when something goes wrong and you lose a tank of fish and you feel like you're not fulfilling your mission. And there are days like that for sure. But in general, we're seeing progress and the customers are getting healthy fish. We're getting healthy fish sent to us. Well, we're not. We're getting fish sent to us that we can get healthy. Fish come in, all the fish come in with something. They're healthy, right? They have good body weight and they're robust and stuff, but untreated, those issues will become a problem over time. And we're learning here how to diagnose and treat and make it so that there's very few losses here as well. So I feel like we're progressing on our mission. There's a long way to go, but that's why we do what we do. Popcorn, somebody.
If there is somebody here who has never seen Dan's live stream where you see the warehouse behind him most of the time, a lot of the times, that place is not like your average LFS by any means. It is just out of this world. And there are videos on his channel that you can go back and see all the attention, that's put into making it better.
Other channels too. Steenfod Aquatics has done a couple tours where he shows everything, and we do a barbecue every 4th of July, and people come and stream and show everything. So the info's out there if you want to know more.
Nabokov fan said Dan's is probably one of the only places that does 5S Kaizen style stats and tracking a fish after they leave their care. It's one of the only places that ask how things arrive.
And we want to hear the problems. Like if you have a problem as a customer, I really want to know, because if you don't tell me, then I think everything's going great. Like there are times when the fish are here, they look perfectly healthy and they've passed all the screening and everything. And then a customer will have a problem and we'll hear about it and we'll look at the fish and look at it and be like, I think that was a one-off. I think maybe something happened. One of those rare things where the box of fish got set on a radiator where it overheated or, something, we don't know. We'll be like, everything looks fine here. And then another customer will chime in and say, no, we had this problem. And I'm like, oh shoot, something's going on if it's multiple customers from different shipments. And so we would never know that if you didn't tell us. We would just, happily keep sending out these fish that are going to end up dying on people if people don't tell us when there's an issue. So we want that. We want to know. We welcome the feedback if there's problems. It's the only way we can fulfill our mission. So we look at the customer as a partner in our mission. You're here to help us do what we're trying to do. Otherwise, why would you pay 2 to 6 times the cost of the fish we're selling? Because we're very expensive. And we want that feedback so that we can partner with you so we can fulfill our mission, basically. So keep it coming. It's nice when people are like, this was amazing. It was great. We like to share that with the crew and it keeps everyone motivated, but it's also really good to know the problems.
Sure. And realistically, putting out the good fish keeps people in the hobby. A lot of people, I think, probably get discouraged if they buy fish and they're constantly dying on them. They think maybe they're not a good fish keeper. So by having good supply out there and people who are willing to work with them, that helps the hobby in general.
It kills me how short-sighted the industry side is. because you're right. Imagine if everyone who had bought fish for the last 40 years had got fish that were healthy, that weren't fresh off this supply chain, weren't suffering from severe ammonia toxicity, didn't have severely compromised immune systems. How many of those people would have been successful and stayed in the hobby, shared their love of their aquarium with someone else who came over for dinner and was like, that aquarium's awesome. Oh, yeah, it is. Let me show you how to do it, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you look at the exponential growth of the hobby that would have occurred from that, that's what we should have done as an industry long ago. Everyone in the industry would be making a lot more money. Let's assume you're driven by money if you're in the industry. I know I just said you don't open a fish store because you're driven by money, and I do think that's true. But
You have to live, though. You have to like a little bit of money.
Right. You have to be business savvy. And I'm not talking about just the mom and pop store owner. There's all the companies that produce the filters and the lights and the food, and that really are driven by bottom line in some cases. So imagine how much better off everyone who makes a living off of aquariums and aquarium fish would be if the people that bought the fish were successful. Like, it would be, I don't know what the multiplier would be, but we would be orders of magnitude larger as a hobby and as an industry than we are now. So it kills me how the industry is structured to each link on the supply chain is trying to pass the fish off to the next link before it dies on them. That's the goal. Like, it's like hot potato. It's like, I got these. Oh, they didn't die on me. Right. That's what it is.
And if they didn't die on them, then it must be the next person's problem if they die.
Yeah. So that's kind of baked in just how the supply chain works. And it's been like that since the industry really took off and was kind of established after World War II. And it's just, it's time for a change.
Because, if a lot of people that's been doing this 40, 50 years ago had just given up real easy, look how many thousands of dollars they wouldn't have spent with aquarium stuff, and a lifetime of it, because you buy 4 or 5 fish from the LFS, they die, you're done, and you put the stuff on the side of the road. But if you have places, especially now, you have the internet where you can find quality places to buy stuff from and people to talk to and ask questions. And that's a big deal nowadays.
Yeah. And I'd like to shout a couple other folks out that I think are trying too. I think Imperial Tropicals, Mike down in Florida, I think he's really doing a good job. I think that the Wet Spot out in Portland is doing a good job. Like, and there's others too that I'm forgetting, and I apologize. But there's this small group of folks that are like, this could be done better. Yeah. But anyway, I have to tell you, it's really fulfilling to operate this way. I have worked in the past, in particular, one very large distributor who I won't name because that's not my style. But going into work every day, I knew my inbox would just be full of fury, just of pissed off people. And I loved fish, and so I wanted to be attached to it. But some days the alarm would go off, and I'd just be like, "Oh no!" Right? Because I knew what I was facing. I love having the partnership relationship with the customer rather than the adversarial. How do I not be held responsible for this problem mentality that I've experienced other places? It's nice to get up in the morning, read the reviews, read the emails, and then take care of the few problems that are there, but really take care of them, and then take the issues and the problems and try to figure out the causes and try to implement that into bettering how we operate. So using it as constructive criticism rather than how do I not refund this person it's less stressful. It just makes for a much better day at work for everybody. It's very fun to go to work when your customers are, I want to say, friends or people that you see as partners rather than adversaries. So I'd recommend it. If anyone here owns a fish store or is in the industry, it's night and day, the mentality difference. It's night and day on like your stress level, on how happy your employees are, and I would highly recommend it.
Awesome.
I'm going to go ahead and share. We're going to go to your website because we have $100 to work with. And I would like to know, if you were shopping at Dan's Fish, what would you be buying?
Yeah, killifish for sure. I'm a killifish freak, so that would be the first thing I would. Whenever I go to a new website, the first thing I look at is their killifish. But I mean, that's what I would look at personally. And those rubra right there that your cursor is on, that is the healthiest group of nothos that we have and that I've seen in I don't know, on the industry side in years. They're eating everything. They're bulky. You're not going to have to get the females up to weight, which you often have to do with nothos. That is an awesome fish, and it's beautiful. It's expensive, so your $100 is probably going to get you a pair. Once you add the 20, what's our shipping? $29.99 or $39.99? I think it's 39. No, it's $29.99, right? Okay, now I have to hang on. I don't even know my own shipping costs right now. Yeah, $39.99. You're right around $100 there, and but if you get a pair and you can breed them, you can get hundreds of eggs out of a pair easily. So for me, being the killifish guy, that's probably what I would do. I'd probably get those. But for your average person who has a tank and just wants a pretty tank with pretty fish, I would probably go with what's looking really good right now. We have some really nice Kubatai rasboras.
Oh, they're beautiful.
And they're doing really well, and they're not super expensive. You could get a nice group of those. Next to them are those chili rasboras. That's a beautiful little fish, and you can get a neat group of those. I like the dwarf cories, the Histatus. That we have Corridors Histatus, or the dwarf salt and pepper cory, is not super expensive. It's more than a pygmy cory, but it's got it's in there somewhere. Let's see here. Oh, did we sell out? Oh, I said Histatus. I meant Hebrosis. That's my bad. They sold out. Dang. That was fast. Anyway, dwarf salt and pepper cories are sold out right now. Hopefully we have some more soon. That's a neat one. Earlier today we had them, these little guys. So sorry, I'm trying to just talk about stuff we have in stock.
Did you want to, since they're right here, mention what this wish list is in case people...
Yeah. So if you click on that, Jenna, would you click on dwarf salt and pepper cory? It's out of stock, but if you scroll to the bottom of the description there, you're not logged in. Oh, there it is. Yeah. I think that's going to take you to the wish list. So if you're logged in and you click on an item that is not in stock, there's a green button right under the quantity that says add to wish list. And if you click that, then it adds it to your wish list. And what that means is when it comes back in stock, you'll get an email notifying you, hey, it's back in stock. So that's what the wish list does for you. But I don't think, you have to log in to create a wish list. Otherwise, it'll create a wish list but not know who it's for, and so the wish list doesn't work. But, yeah. Some others that I think are awesome are, believe it or not, cherry barbs. Not expensive and really beautiful little fish. I like cherry barbs a ton.
You have the albino ones.
I do have albinos. Yeah, we sold out of the long fins, and I think we just sold out of the normal ones as well. But we'll have more soon. Then, if you have larger tanks and you've got $100 to play with, let's see here. I'd probably go with something like Rosy Barbs, Congo Tetras, Diamond Tetras. One of those, and I'd get a decent number of them. Those Diamond Tetras are awesome. They get big. They're not too expensive. And they're already, right now, they're about an inch and a quarter. So they don't have the long fins, and they're going to get a lot bigger than that. But they are showing the diamonds on them already. So they're already starting to color up. So fish that are kind of big bodied, don't break the bank, and you can get a decent number of them for $100 would be things like that, I think. Carry Tetras are awesome. They're one of the prettiest fish, one of our best sellers. Cardinal Tetras are very popular. And
do you have Ember Tetras?
We have Ember Tetras, yep. Ember Tetras are beautiful little nano fish, not very expensive, and really do color up into a nice, like, amber colored fish. So I'm trying to keep it on like what are the not real expensive species, because we've only got $100 to play with. And I'm trying to think of stuff that you can get a decent number of for that amount.
Another thing I wanted to mention is all of your pictures, they come from your warehouse or from customers, correct? Like, they're not colored up. Imagine what this fish would look like in Photoshop pictures.
If you browse some online stores, you'll see some really amazing pictures, and then you go to another online store and you'll see the same picture, and then and you're like, where are these coming from? Our pictures are pictures we've taken ourselves, or customers have sent us, or recently we've been lucky enough that Chris Lukup's sending us pictures as well. So what we try to do is, let me think of a case where this would be, like the Habrosis. So if you go to the Habrosis Cory, the dwarf salt and pepper Cory, if you click on that, so that's Chris Lukup's picture, as is said down there. We credit the people, so you'll know where they're coming from. That's that's Chris's as well. And then you'll see me. Yeah, so that's me there. So that's an actual fish here in the warehouse that I took a picture of. But as you can see, it's kind of fuzzy. I'm not a great photographer. So when I can, for the thumbnail, I like using Chris's pictures because they're nice and crisp. They show the fish as they, what their potential is. And I don't think Chris messes with them too much. He didn't add bright blue or red or anything to that. But then if you scroll through, you'll often see pictures I've taken myself. So you get a nice thumbnail, and then you get the Dan picture as well. So that's what we're striving to do, is get a really nice thumbnail picture that is not ripped off, which is, it's just par for the course on online fish stores. They'll just go rip pictures off the internet and use them, which I hate.
Also, Stephen has an update really quick that we're going to match the $100. So someone will receive $200 to Dan's Fish.
Nice. Okay, we can go a little harder then. Hey,
Stephen's probably wondering, what can I do with just 100? I need more.
But so what we're trying to do is get a nice thumbnail that shows the fish nice and clearly, and then as you scroll through the photo carousel, you'll see what I've been able to actually get a picture of. So
Annette is very concerned that we haven't talked about snails yet.
Oh, well, let's go to the snails. There's an inverts. Yeah, so we have some really cool ones. So those blueberry snails are freaking amazing. Chris Lukup discovered those. And if you're watching, Chris, thanks. That's an amazing. See that orange on the body? This one's kind of sucked in the shell a little more. But on the body, they have these bright orange, And there is kind of a blue tint to the body, which I guess is where they get the blueberry name from. It kind of shows it there. You can see just a little bit of blue. I wouldn't say that it's like, bright blue, but it's definitely a bluish tinge with the orange there. But and these guys are super easy. They're breeding like crazy for us. We have tons of babies. They're a live bearer. I don't know how many babies they have in each brood, but when I look at the tank, it's like there's another 100 babies, So, and they seem pretty hardy. Ours are doing awesome. I'm no snail expert, and I'm having no trouble keeping them alive and breeding them. Also, holy cow, Kelly Foreman.
Yeah. So someone is going to get $300 to Dan's Fish.
This is getting to be better and better all the time. Thank you. Everybody.
So what would you get if you had $300 to Dan's Fish?
Well, now I've got to recalibrate.
5 pairs of killifish?
I would get more killifish. Yeah. I'd probably get, what I really love about the hobby is breeding. There's an old hashtag out there from Dan's Fish that's breeding is pleasure. What I mean by that is fish breeding is pleasure, but it's what I really enjoy in the hobby. It's my roots, and so I like fish that I can breed. And killifish are kind of perfect for me because there's so many varieties, and they're not so easy. They take a little effort. It's not like a guppy where they're just going to breed for you. The effort in the guppies comes from the culling and the selection of the breeders and making sure that the females you're trying to use as your next brood stock don't get impregnated by the wrong male. Like, that's the work of breeding guppies and live bearers, raising them and really working a line. But getting them to breed, getting offspring, that's no problem at all, right? I have bear tanks that have nothing but an air stone and just babies coming and growing all the time, endlers and guppies. So there is real work there, but it comes in the refinement of the line.
Now, if somebody was looking to buy rainbows, which ones would you be putting in your cart?
I'll switch to that in 1 second, Dee Dee. But the reason I like killifish is because they're a little bit of a challenge to breed. They're still pretty easy, though, but they're a little bit of a challenge. And their reproductive habits are so interesting to me. If you go to rainbow fish, Kalitawa is an absolutely amazing rainbow fish. You'll probably need to scroll down a little bit. And it's not available for sale right now, but it will be before the end of the week. We have a nice batch that's going through quarantine right now. The reason I like these, and I really think this is going to become, Ryan Reamy took these pictures, by the way. I think this is going to become the most popular rainbow fish. Right now, I think the most popular rainbow fish is the neon dwarf rainbow, the Melanotaenia praecox.
You don't think the Bosemani?
No, I think Bosemani is popular, but I think as people, it needs more space. So less people are able to keep it. So I think if the Bosemani was the size of a praecox, it would be the most popular. And I'm just going off what we sell. So judging the number of praecox we sell versus the number of Bosemani, we still sell a whole lot of Bosemani, but praecox beats them. And I think it's because they're small. They top out at around 3 inches. It would be a really big praecox. They're pretty. They're a sky blue iridescence with red on the fins. But that's all they are.
I have a Kamaka that I got from you maybe 4 or 5 years ago. My very first rainbows. That thing is huge.
Yeah.
He's a little panfish.
He's like a discus. Yeah, he's all tall. Yeah. The reason I think the Kalitawa is going to surpass praecox is because it's also tops out at 2.5 to 3 inches. It's a true dwarf species, so it's easier to keep for people that don't have massive aquariums. And look at the color, like this the amount of color it gets and the variation. I think if you put this next to a praecox and ask people which one they liked better, they would just choose this one because it has more color. So I think once the industry gets a hold of this fish and starts mass producing it, like they do the praecox, that this is going to be the fish that is the most popular in the entire industry. Now, right now, it's hard to find and it's expensive. And so I think it's a great breeding project. It's easy to breed. It's easy to raise. It's just as easy as the praecox. But it's still, the price point's a lot higher. So I think there's an opportunity there for someone.
So Jody P is also giving $100.
Oh, jeez.
We're almost up to one Vulcan Corridora.
That's a $400 gift certificate. Wow, that's pretty cool. Thank you, Jody. Thanks everybody. This is making this a lot more exciting. I feel like I don't even need to stream tomorrow. Then this is all. By the way, I got my computer back, so I have high hopes for tomorrow's stream. Other rainbow fish, though, that I think any of the dwarfs are awesome, and I think will be more popular if they have color, just because more people can house them. But if you go to there's some Itinjo, and soon we'll have some Aves Creek available. Those two forms of Bosemani are absolutely stunning, and I think those are a great one too.
I saw Zen asked earlier if there were any Chilatharina or Rads. I see a few. Well, she doesn't like the rainbow shape, where they get the like small face and the hump.
Yeah.
And I see that you have some Chilatharina.
I do. I have some. Some Chilatharina will get the small little triangle face with the big.
This one looks like it would.
And I don't remember all of which will and which are less prone to that. It's hard to recommend a rainbow fish to someone that doesn't like that shape, because I feel like I would get it wrong.
Do you ever bring in Rads?
I have, yeah. I've brought in a few species of Rads. I source them from Marcel, who's a hobbyist in the United States, who breeds quite a few of them. There's one that we've had, the Ornatus from Tiwa Creek. But we've had, I think, 3 species of Rads. I think we've had Tiwa, I think we've had Deepwater, and I think we've had another one that I forget. We don't get them often, though. Rads are another one where I think there's a real opportunity. This is a fish everybody wants and is difficult to find. And it's super easy to breed and raise. So also they're temperate. They can take cool temperatures. They're very temperature tolerant. They come from the east coast of Australia, kind of midway up the continent. And so the water there will dip down in the 50s in the winter. Really hardy, neat fish. So Rads are another awesome one. I don't have any right now, and I honestly don't know when I'll get more, because they're pretty hard to source. I can get them from Marcel, and there's a gentleman in Australia that has them too. But importing from Australia is kind of the hardest place to import from legally. It's just there's a lot of expense and red tape and stuff, and so I haven't done it yet. I've looked into it, and what I'd have to charge for the fish once I went through all that is just way more than anyone would pay. So I haven't done it. There's another really cool Melanotaenia pygmea, the pygmy rainbow fish. I think we sold out a few weeks ago. There they are, the pygmy rainbow fish. But that's one that tops out at 2 to 2.5 inches as well. It took me like 10 years to find that fish and bring it in. And that's another one I really, really like. Pseudomugils are not to be ignored, though. A nice big school of Pseudomugil fricata or luminatus or a Gertrude, like the Aru2s or the Aru4s. We've got a bunch of Aru4s that should be available in the next couple days. Ivan Safai is a neat one. Like, I don't think you can go wrong with the Pseudomugils. really interesting fish.
The Mellis is really popular too, right?
Yeah, if you can find it, oh man, that's another one that I think there's real potential there for someone to get them, breed them, and distribute them, because everybody wants them, no one can get them, so that makes the price point high. But the nice thing about pseudomugils is they're small fish, but they lay very big eggs. So the babies, when they hatch, they're free swimming already, and they're ready to eat, and they're big enough to eat baby brine shrimp right from the get-go, at least the species I've raised. Some of them might be a little smaller and need some paramecium or infusoria or something for a couple days. But the ones I've raised, Friccata and a few others, have eaten baby brine shrimp right away. The Melanotaenias and Chilitherinas, they're a lot bigger, but their eggs are tiny and their fry are tiny, and so they're actually more difficult to raise than the small little pseudomugil babies.
Yeah, the only rainbow fish we have bred have all been completely by accident. Like suddenly there's a fry large enough to eat like brine shrimp or whatever else everything else is eating.
Yeah, one day it just kind of swims out and you see it and you're like, hey, where'd that come from? It's 1/4 of an inch. Yeah.
Yep. It dodged everybody else.
There are some really neat live bearers that we could talk about as well.
Well, Jeff Kane also put in $100, so
dude, holy cow.
Away.
All right, you can get one CW 111. That's a really cool little catfish. That's one that took a long time to find as well. But yeah, these live bearers, there's some that I would really highly recommend. Those yellow galaxy sunsets are amazing. The red rose tails are absolutely stunning. They're very good lines. The breeders have worked with them, and I've purchased multiple batches from the breeders, so it's like they're consistently really nice. I hope to get more of those yellow galaxy sunsets in. I've been trying for a few months now, and they just when there's one person producing them, you just gotta wait till they have enough, and it doesn't happen all the time. If you keep scrolling down, Jenna, there's a couple others that I'd like to call out. The platinum red tail Dumbo ears. Those are awesome. And this strain, this is the line you want if you're breeding. The line that we have right now is the really high quality line. It's the one we always want to get. Those are amazing. They're a little bit pricey, but it's one of the best lines I've seen. If you keep going down, there's you're getting close. I'm trying to find the solid yellow platies. That's what I'm looking for.
These? Those,
yes. Okay, my picture's horrible, guys, of those. But again, this is me with a camera doing my best. I try, I'm not going to rip off pictures from the internet or whatever. These are a bright sunshine yellow, and they do develop a really nice high fin. And it's just not something you see. This is not a strain of platy you see out there. So I think as a breeding project, this is one that they're just as easy to breed and raise as others. Like we have babies showing up all the time in our tanks. And we've had a few where the babies showed up and we sold the adults, and then the babies grew up big enough that we could be like, oh, those actually do look like the adults. They bred true. So that's one that I think would be awesome. Any of the high fins or cauliflowers or veils would be a neat project. Be aware, though, if you get into those, that the offspring often look different than the adults, and you really have to work it to get back to where you're getting those adults. I think that's why they're expensive and why they always will be, is I don't think it's a case where it's easy to get those colors and those fins. I think a small percentage of the batch gets them. And then you get those and you work with them, and still a fairly small percentage gets exactly what you're looking for. But it's a neat challenge and an interesting project. Like I've had dark red cauliflowers breed, and I raise the babies, and they are a pretty fish, but they look pretty different. Like they just, I don't know what it is about them. I don't know that much about their genetics, but they're sure beautiful. And then there's some wild types as well, some Nezzies. Somewhere down here we'll find Siphophorus.
Not the Monte.
There it is. Well, I'm out of Montes. No, I've got a couple. Okay, I've got a couple trios of Montes. Montes are awesome. They're the swordtail with the largest sword. So in comparison to the body, that sword is much, much larger than any other swordtail species. That's their claim to fame. They are really pretty, neat little fish. Almost any live bearer that, if you can get a line going, whether they're wild type or domesticated, I think you'll do well with. One of the big lamentations in this hobby is that it's difficult to keep guppies alive. And that's weird because when I was a kid, guppies were rock solid. You couldn't kill a guppy. And nowadays, people buy guppies in the hopes that they get a few babies before the guppies they bought die. Like, that's how bad it's gotten. And so if you can get, I'm talking like a common guppy and breed a strain that's healthy, I think there's a demand for that. If you can say these are healthy, people will want them because it's rare right now to find. Even the best fish stores, if you go walk through them and you look at guppies and mollies and swordtails, you'll see fish that are doing the shimmy. It's taken us, at this point, I think it's 4 years of pretty solid work to figure out how to do live bearers right. It's no small task, but I think it's worth getting into. If you can get some healthy ones and just breed them out, I think those fish people will want. Yeah, there it is. There's the Siphophorus nezacoatl, the northern mountain swords. Our picture isn't great, but it's got a nice curved sword on the bottom, and it's got nice spotting on the body, and that kind of rounded, perky, as I like to call it, dorsal fin. That's a neat one as well.
Well, speaking of the guppies, Ladina White said that she loves the Yellow Galaxy Sunset guppies from Dan's. Bodacious female, male is gorgeous coloring, healthiest guppies I've seen in years. So. Oh,
I'm glad to hear it, Ladina, and I hope you get tons of babies. And I would like to buy like 500 of them from you tomorrow if you can produce them. I know one place that is doing those right. That's where I get them from, and they just don't have many available. So anyone that buys those from us, I want to buy them back when you get babies.
So Beta Aquatics asks, do you have a system where you can repurchase stock from hobbyists that breed fish from you if they get excess fry from the fish that they purchased from Dan's Fish?
Yeah, hobbyists are my favorite place to buy fish from because you care. Like, I still feel like a hobbyist. I know I do this for a living, and I have a business that's wrapped up in it, but I still feel like a hobbyist, and I approach it that way. I mean, as a hobbyist for 30 years before I, did this. And so I know what it is to be a hobbyist and to care about your animals and to really spoil them and have fun with them. And so that's where I want to buy my fish. It's the most humane place I can think of to source my fish. So yes, if you are a hobbyist and you've got extra fish that you've raised and you want to sell us, we pay 25% of the retail cost landed. So let's say I sell a fish or you're selling a fish for $1.50. And then once it's shipped, that makes it's 50 cents to ship the fish. Got a box full of them. The shipping for each fish is 50 cents. So that's $2 landed at my door. So my landed cost is $2. That means I can sell that fish for $8. That's how the markup works here. And so just up front, that's what we can pay. And we need usually to buy in quantity. If you have rare stuff that's, pricey, I can buy less. Otherwise, I usually need to buy 100, 200, something like that. For killifish, I'll do, 50 pairs. would be a starting point. The reason is each tank I have it takes up space in my warehouse, and it takes up our time to keep the tank up, whether it's an employee to feed them or the diagnostic lab to work them up in the lab and make sure they're healthy, or the electricity on the light or whatever. Each tank here has to, I think, what is the amount? I haven't run the amount in a little while, but the last one I remember was it's something like $260 a month has to be sold out of that tank, or that tank is costing the business money. And so if you breed a dozen fish that aren't very expensive, I can't put those in that tank and justify it financially. If I can buy 200 from you, I can put those in the tank and justify it financially. Otherwise, there's not enough dollars worth of inventory in that tank for that tank to pay its rent, as we call it here. So that's kind of how we have to look at it is, are there enough dollars worth of fish in this tank that this tank is going to be able to pay for the labor and the food and the electricity and everything that goes into maintaining that tank and the fish in it. So that's why I can't just buy a dozen cherry barbs. I have to buy a couple hundred.
And I went ahead and started the giveaway because it can collect in the background.
Cool.
So for anyone who wants to enter, I saw some people were suggesting we split it up, but I think it is
no way
good of a giveaway to get $500. I mean, that's like get whatever you want.
You could go crazy with a $500 gift certificate.
Yeah, yeah. You know, we only ship next to air. That's kind of pricey. Our fish are pricier than most places just because of the extra costs we have sourcing them and caring for them and everything we do. So I think 500 is exciting. Yeah.
So also for the people who are adding to the giveaway, how would you like them to get you their share of the money?
It's a great question. I wish Jonathan was here. He would know the answer. I think if you guys buy a $100 gift certificate at dansfish.com and then email it to me, dan@dansfish.com, then the winner, I'll just send a $500 gift certificate to, and we'll delete the gift certificates you send me. I think that's probably the easiest way to do it.
Okay.
Because that's automated through the website. We don't have to deal with collecting checks and all that. So let's just do that.
So for Stephen, Jody, Jeff Kane, and Kelly, please purchase a Dan's Fish gift certificate from the website and send it to hello@dansfish.
Dan@dansfish.
Dan@dansfish.com. And in the subject line, put Fishfam.link giveaway, just so that he knows what it is for. And then the winner will just get the one $500.
Yeah. And then I'll create, once we know who the winner is, Jen, if you send me their first name, last name, and email address, then I can create the $500 gift certificate and get that sent to them. Yeah, I think that's the easiest way.
Okay. And
man, so this is great. This is actually really exciting. I wanted to say, everyone that threw down hundies, thanks. You know how to have a party. This is going to be really fun.
Absolutely. They sure do.
It is not the wheel of you lose, Eric. We're currently, I see we have 66 entries.
Dude, those are good odds.
We'd have people really busting up furniture to lose out on a $500 gift certificate.
Was there anything else you wanted to look at while we're collecting giveaway?
Well, the number keeps changing, so I'm unprepared. But I think I covered. I like every fish we sell, and I can talk about every fish we sell. And you see me do that when I do the unboxings and the live streams and the tours and stuff. So I'm the kind of guy that if I start talking about a species, I could make you very bored. I could just keep going.
Do you still carry shrimp?
Yeah. If you
because I've seen some interest in shrimp too.
Okay, so
chat.
let's talk about the Sulawesi types. So we have, some of your normal Neocardinas and stuff, but these two, the Starry Night Sulawesis and the one down there, the Sulawesi Redline Snow, I really like the natural, the way the species out in the Sulawesi lakes have radiated, and you've got these amazing colors and patterns and stuff out there just in nature naturally. I think they're awesome, and so I really like all of those. Those are my favorite of all the shrimp. Now I really like a nice bright red cherry shrimp or blue dream or whatever. I like the Skittles colors as well, but I think the Sulawesi wild type ones are the ones that really get me going. And all the ones that we have, we're breeding right here. So you're getting ones that have been bred here in our tanks.
Oh,
So we're not pulling them out of the wild or anything. We sourced our brood stock from the wild, but the ones we're selling are just out of colonies. They're just breeding like crazy. The way we keep them is we keep them in 79 degrees. These are from a very tropical place. It's not like your crystal red shrimp, which are also in the genus Caridina, or your cherry shrimps, the Neocardinas. These guys don't like it cold, so we keep them at 79 degrees. Other people keep them up in the low 80s, 82, 84, but we find 79 works just fine. And unlike the other Caridina shrimp that you're probably familiar with, the bee shrimp, the crystal reds and stuff, these don't need soft water. These actually come from hard alkaline lakes. So our water here, the pH is like 8.4. The calcium carbonate hardness is 300 parts per million. It's like liquid rock, and they love it. They spawn in it. You don't have to do anything special. Just have lots of surface area for them to graze on. Keep them well fed. Keep the water clean. They don't like ammonia. They don't like swinging parameters from a new aquarium. So a nice established aquarium with lots of, plants or hardscape or something for them to graze on, and they'll probably do well for you. Most people in the United States have hard alkaline water. And in most cases, we lament that because we're trying to breed discus or whatever, and it's like, it's not working. But in this case, your hard alkaline water works really well for the Sulawesi species. Hey, Ladina, I like that. Thanks. I bought red cherries from Dan a year and a half ago. Started with 12 of my 55. No choline needed. Breeded true and very prolific, even with assorted fish in the same tank. I'm glad to hear that. We're actually having trouble keeping cherry shrimp in stock. I've got to create some larger colonies. I had like 5 booming colonies, and I was like, there's no way we'll sell all these. They sold.
yeah. And it seems like more and more people are also keeping shrimp than before.
Yeah, especially as the size of dwelling people live in shrinks. More people are in apartments now than ever before, and smaller dwellings. Then the size of aquarium shrinks, and shrimp are amazing. You can keep a lot of shrimp in a small tank. And there's so many varieties now too. It's crazy. You can get if there's a color you like, you can get it pretty much. Yeah, shrimp are awesome.
I just typed in FFL stats because I think we may have hit a record for viewership. I just saw 101 people. It's saying 97 right now, but I don't know. Sometimes YouTube likes to steal people.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear it.
So
I think everybody's super excited too.
This is your last call to enter #Dan to win a $500 giveaway.
Heck, I want to get in on that. No, I'm joking.
Matt is trying to get your attention, Jenna.
Well, then why isn't he saying what he wants?
I don't know. I just saw he's had it in capital letters.
I'm going to go ahead. There we go. Now it says 100. I'm going to go ahead and click stop. And we're going to refresh one more time. We don't have time for 77 people to get off for the Wheel of You Lose.
Wording. I love it.
I'll just kind of slowly scroll so that people can make sure that their name is on here. Because I know it's kind of hard to see the names on the wheel.
And people are still adding as we speak. So
yeah, Branton, you are not pink today. I don't know if that's a good thing or not.
he gets picked pretty quick if he's pink. So
okay, I am refreshing one more time, and then we are going to spin. We have 80 entries. That is official. And I am spinning now.
good luck.
Audra Meyer, and guess what? She was pink.
Oh my goodness. That is awesome.
That's
Congratulations,
hilarious.
Audra.
Are you here? Because you have to be here to claim this. Let's see. We'll give her just a minute.
There she is. She said, "Did I just win?"
Audrey, you just won $500. I need you to send an email to hello@fishfam.link, and we'll have your email, obviously, but just let us know that you are claiming your winnings, and I will get that over to Dan. Stephen, Jody, Jeff, Kelly, please, as soon as possible, send those gift cards over to Dan so that we can get this out as soon as possible.
And she's crying.
And I think
Is that the goal here? Make people cry.
Yeah.
I think Audra owes us an unboxing of what she gets. So that'll probably be either a big box or a very expensive box.
Or really cool stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Kelly has already ordered her gift card.
Okay. And then really quick, I know we're a little bit over, but we always do our little secondary giveaway of a Fishfam.link badge and a What the Fish magnet. So if you would like to be entered to win that, and even Audra can enter #FFL, #Fishfam.link. That should announce right now. And while we're collecting that for maybe like 2 minutes, if anyone has any questions, or Dan, if you had anything else that you wanted to say while we're collecting these.
Yeah, I want to say how cool our community is, like as witnessed tonight and many, 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 many other nights where people have been really supportive. Sometimes it's financial, like tonight, and other times it's just by helping somebody out with sharing your experience so that they can have success. But I've been a member of lots of different organizations and communities. I've run lots of nonprofits, and the culture that we have here on this online community of fish nerds is pretty incredible. It's not perfect.
Absolutely.
It never will be. But in general, I think this is a pretty incredible group. So I'm happy to be part of it. The whole reason I started doing YouTube was because I'd moved to Wyoming and I missed my fish clubs, my local fish clubs that I had in Southern California. And so it's really nice to be able to be a part of this, even though I don't live in a place that has a big enough city to have a local fish club that meets regularly. So thanks everybody for being, I don't know, I just like being part of this community.
I did want to ask, I see Eric did #send Johnny to the Clash. Just wanted to make sure that is okay with you, that the community is doing that, sending you money on Johnny's behalf.
Doesn't matter, the community's spoken. Like, what am I going to do? Like, I'm going to try to fight that? No. Like, Johnny deserves it, man. Okay, so real quick. Johnny joined this company. He was our 4th employee. It was me, Jonathan, Mandy, and Johnny. He sold his house, moved across the country to help us do this. He knew that there was a lot of risk doing that. He knew that we were going to work 7 days a week, all day, every day, from waking to sleeping. And he went through that with us, and he ground it out, and he ground it out. And I think he's taken, like, how many days? Less than a couple days off in all those years. So I would love Johnny to go to the Clash and just get out of the warehouse for a week or 4 days or whatever it is, get out there, hang out with fish nerds, have a blast, and be able to not be here for a little while. Like, he deserves it. This guy is a big part of why we're successful. So yeah, let's get him there.
Okay, I am refreshing one more time, and we're going to quickly draw for this. Stan Pittman, I believe that we have your address already, so we can get these things out to you. But just let us know that you are still here to claim your
last month, right?
He did.
Well, yes, at the Clash.
Yes. So we'll give him just a minute.
And if there's anybody in here, which there probably isn't, that does not know that Dan's Fish has a live stream every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern.
Yes.
And I have my computer back, so it should work this time.
Okay, Stan is here. And you usually do a giveaway on your live stream. Do you know what you might be giving away tomorrow?
Yeah, I think I'm going to be giving away a pair of Liberty Mollies. Although it might be albino hoplo cats. Those are the two that Johnny and I are discussing.
So look out for that thumbnail, because it will have what's being given away right on the thumbnail so people can see. Thank you so much, Dan, for donating, for coming up here and shopping with us. It's been a lot of fun. We appreciate you so much.
Hey, I'm happy to do it. Who knew that we could turn $100 into 500 tonight? That was pretty cool.
It's amazing the turnaround on money in this business.
So, before we go, did y'all have any final words, Dan or Dee Dee?
No, this has been awesome, and thank you, everybody who did come out and join us. Of course, there could be only one winner, but she's going to have a fabulous time placing her order. I can only imagine.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for having me. My only words are thanks for having me. I enjoyed this. It was nice to be here, and I appreciate the invite. I'm happy to do it. You guys have been so supportive, so thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who came, entered, participated, anyone who's lurking, anyone who watches on the replay, and we will see you all next month. Thank you.